let's start with what is Scrum. Now, Scrum is a simple framework to develop complex products in a complex environment, right? It's a simple framework to develop complex products in a complex environment, right? And it's a very, very popular Agile framework. Now, in order to understand Scrum, we'll go through some basic concepts first. We'll go through some of the important artifacts that are used in Scrum. And one of the very popular artifact is product backlog. Now, can you see product backlog on the screen in front of you guys?
Yes.
Right? Now, what do you see in this product backlog? Is it collection of the requirements?
Yeah, it will be a collection of the requirement on.
Can you see collection requirements within the product backlog from requirement 1 to requirement 20?
Yeah.
So, just to simplify, I have shown it as collection of requirement, but it is collection of work to be done in the project, right? Right? It's a kind of a centralized repository from where the work is taken, right? Now, it can contain requirements, it can contain change request, it can contain, bug fixes. All the work to be done in the project will be taken through a product backlog. Now, how it is different from a scope statement, right? When we follow predictive and incremental approaches, the work is taken from a scope statement, right? Or a statement of work. How a product backlog is different from statement of work or a scope statement, guys?
Sorry, can you repeat again?
How a product backlog is different from scope statement or a statement of work?
This backlog is the activities like in R&D we have we are developing this one new product, and this is list of the activities for that product.
See,
work breakdown.
Work to be done in the project can be defined in a scope statement and a work breakdown structure also, right? And a product backlog also contain the work to be done in the project, which includes all the requirements, right? Bug fixes, change request, everything will be sourced from the product backlog. Now, how it is different from a scope statement? Now, see, when we were talking about scope statement, right, or a work breakdown structure, we were talking about freezing, right? We sign off the scope, we freeze it, we create a boundary. Did we discuss boundary while discussing about the scope statement or not? Now, unlike the typical statement of work or scope statement, you don't freeze a product backlog, it's emergent. And see, product backlog is an artifact for managing the requirements or managing the work, right, in an agile context. And in the agile context, will the work be emergent, right? Or can we freeze it at any point of time? Tell me, guys.
You can't freeze it.
Right? So product backlog is emergent, right? Now, another important thing, right? The focus of Agile is to deliver value, right? The focus in Agile is to deliver value. So at any point of time, the product backlog will be prioritized. When I say product backlog is prioritized, it means that the high value requirement should always be at the top. The acronym D describes the characteristics of a good product backlog. Now, D in this acronym, D stands for detail appropriately. E stands for emergent. Another E stands for estimable, and P stands for prioritized. Now, a good product backlog is characterized by an acronym DEEP, where D stands for detailed appropriately, which means that, right, at any point of time, you do not freeze the product backlog. Now, in a product backlog, the high priority user stories or requirements that are at the top, right, should be detailed, uh, should be highly detailed, right, should be granular. Whereas those requirements which are at lower end of the product backlog, right, can be less detailed. A product backlog is emergent, right? You do not freeze a product backlog. You do not sign off a product backlog. In an agile environment, right, the requirements are emergent. So the product backlog is also emergent. Now, at any point of time, you should estimate the size of the product backlog. Now, those requirements, which are high priority one, at the top of the product backlog, you can have a more precise and definitive estimates for those requirements because they have to be addressed in the immediate sprints, whereas you can have high-level estimates for those requirements that are on the lower end of the product backlog. Now, but at any point of time, the product backlog should be estimable. Now, P in the acronym DEEP stands for prioritized, right? In a product backlog, the high priority requirement should always be at the top. In this course, we are going to learn about various prioritization techniques, right? Such as paired comparison method, such as 100-point or $100 method, and weighted shortage of first, right? So items in the product backlog, at a macro level, can be prioritized based on the value, cost, and risk, right? We'll learn about it later. But at any point of time, the product backlog should be prioritized. Now, see how to deliver this product backlog, right? Now, should we deliver it in a single shot or multiple releases? It depends on the nature of the product. But even before that, see, any project development or a product development is a significant expense, right? And whatever assumptions we have made regarding the expected outcome of the project, they may happen or not, right? It depends because there are always expectations, right? Now, even before you go through first release, right, should you first assess the viability of the product or a project or not?
Yes.
Now, viability is assessed through a minimum viable product, right? So instead of releasing the product in the market, right, what you do is you build minimum set of minimum features that you can touch and feel, right? And you give the demonstration of these features to the relevant stakeholders, which may be business people, sponsors, or focus groups, right? You build a minimum feature, right? Uh, a product with minimum feature that at least people can make out, right? People can understand, right? They can touch or feel, right? So you build a minimum functionality, right, and give a demonstration of that functionality to relevant stakeholders, which may include business people, sponsors, focus groups, right? Now, these people, after reviewing the minimum viable product or minimum functionality, will give you a feedback, right? That feedback can be, right, you can go ahead with the product, right? Or the feedback can be to stop the product, right? Or they might give you a feedback to change your direction a little bit, right? This is a feedback these people can give you. Yes or no?
Yes.
Right? Now, This is a minimum viable product, right? So did you get the concept of minimum viable product, guys?
Yes.
A minimum functionality that you develop, right, to get an understanding whether the business case corresponding to the product development or project development will be viable, desirable, achievable, and sustainable, right? Yes or no?
So, Pankaj, are we saying that MVP is something like a POC kind of activity?
Now, see, MVP is not exactly a POC, right? POC can be done for anything, right? Proof of, see, if, for example, if I'm using a new technology to validate it, do I do a POC? I can do proof of
Yes.
concept for anything, right? I can do it for a new technology. I can do it for a new for integrating your product with some new product also, right? But minimum, why I am doing minimum viable product? To assess, should I go forward with this project or a product or not, or should we stop? Can you see that the perspective of minimum viable product is broader than a POC?
Yeah, Pankaj, if I will say, like for the MVP, what I have experienced, like in sometimes, customers says, okay, give us or deliver the MVP,
Mm-hmm.
as soon as possible. Then the other additional features, I'm giving example of the wallet.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose customer says, okay, give us a wallet with minimum features, like I can give the, transfer the money from one person to another person. Rest, the features like, we have to pay electricity bill, water bill, everything, so
Mm-hmm.
that we will add later, but we need MVP as a person to person transaction.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Is
I
it
believe
for a
that is
market?
also.
No, 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 no. This is, I'll tell you what. See, now I'll come across, now I'll take you through another term called as minimum. See, we discussed about minimum viable product, right? Because
Okay.
whatever you are developing here, right? Whatever you are developing here as per the customer's request, will you be releasing it or not to the market,
Yeah.
right? It's an
Yes.
increment to whatever product you have made, right? Now,
Yeah.
there is something called as minimum viable product, and there is something called as minimum marketable product or minimal business increment, right? Minimal marketable product or minimal business increment, right? Right. Now, see, uh, what is the difference between a minimal marketable product and a minimum viable product? Now, see, remember about just recall about the products such as Uber, Uber app, or a fintech app such as Paytm or Google Pay. Now, when the initial version of the products were launched in the market, right? Was it same as today?
No.
Right? Paytm was launched with bare minimum features.
Yeah.
Right? So, the minimum product that you launch in the market, right? The earliest version that is released to the market, that is minimal marketable product. Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
Can you repeat again, please?
The lowest version, the earliest version, right? With highest priority or highest priority minimal features, which is launched of a product which is launched to the market, which is released in the market, right? Is a minimal marketable product, right?
So it will be same for MVP as well, na? Minimum viable
See,
product.
now see, do you earn money through minimum viable product or do you do a viability check?
No, if we are saying, suppose
No.
product guy has discussed with the client that these are the features coming with MVP one. Okay, so if obviously when we are releasing or giving it to the client, there will be a set of you can say UAT that we discussed yesterday. So after that, it's a client choice whether he is going with the MVP with market or not. So
So
is
listen,
it?
listen carefully. when you use the word minimum viable product, right? MVP, right? The concept of MVP is that you assess the viability. The purpose is not to earn money here. You don't go to market with a minimum viable product, but many times these two terms, minimum viable product and minimal marketable product, right, are used interchangeably but in incorrect manner.
Okay, that's the
Right?
confusion.
Right? So minimum viable product is a very, very base product to check whether you should go ahead with the product or project further or not. Right? Whereas minimal marketable product is something that you have officially launched to the market. You have done a release through it. And you make money, you earn money through it also, right? The first version of the products like Paytm, right? Google Pay, right? Or Uber, right? iPhone, you can call them as a minimum marketable product. Afterwards, the new versions came out with better features, right? So, so this is whatever you are saying that your customer has asked to build an increment on top of whatever is there to release to the market. That is a minimum. You can call it as a minimal business increment, right? And it is related to minimal marketable product, not a viable product.
I mean, if I understood this correctly, sir, on a minimum viable product, so the internal usage that the organization would be doing for that product and the outcomes that they would be taking out from that product so that, they can do the alterations and the changes and then subsequently they can introduce the same, if everything is fine, then they can use that product in the market.
Okay. So
So,
Arush, yeah, in order to understand, I understand what you're trying to say. So, I'll ask you a question just to validate your understanding, right? Ayush, should I do this product or project? Should I move forward with this product or project? Who would answer it? What would answer it? A minimum viable product or minimal marketable product?
minimum viable product,
Right. Yes. Yeah. Right. And what should be my first release to the market? What should
that
answer
would
it?
be minimal marketable product.
Right. So does it help you to understand the difference between the two?
Yes, I mean, but it all depends upon the feedbacks as well, na? So the feedback that I would be getting to launch that product in the market, so that would come through the minimum viable product, feasibility. And then once I have the tick into that, then I would be able to release
Obviously,
that.
obviously, obviously. See, minimum viable product is to collect the feedback, right? And the feedback can be to persevere, right? To move ahead. The feedback can be Arush, you are right, and just go ahead with the extra features. A feedback can be to modify a bit, change the direction. A feedback can be to stop, right? So
Correct.
anyway, if there's a feedback to modify or change or any feedback about your minimum version, how should it look like? Yes, you should incorporate, right?
Correct. So the
But the
minimum
purpose, but
viable,
the purpose of minimum viable product is to collect feedback, right? From the
yeah,
relevant stakeholders, right?
correct, correct.
Whereas minimum marketable product is the official first version launched in the market, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
So,
if you do
Pankaj,
small increment on top of it, they're minimal business increment, right?
Got it, got it.
Yeah,
One question, Pankaj.
yeah, sure.
So when we set up this product backlog and further ahead we will do the sprint planning. So will this name will come like meaning this is your minimum viable product and this will be your minimum marketable product by this
See,
sprint.
in fact, it should come before also. See, there will be
So
certain things which you'll do before product backlog, like you should create a lean business case, right? Now, the only in the agile context, when you create the business case, right, minimum viable product should be taken, or minimum marketable product, both should be taken into account principally.
So, like, suppose if I am a PLM, a product owner,
Mhm.
so this I will be doing at the first phase, like after this sprint or this requirement is done, my this product will be MVP and After this stage, this product will be a marketable product. Is my understanding correct?
See, when the product backlog is built, let's say, right?
Yeah.
So, first thing will be MVP, right?
Okay.
Right? So MVP can be first 2 sprints or the first can be, see, MVP can be developed in 1 sprint or 2 sprint, right? Or 3 sprints, right? Right? Once the MVP is approved, you go ahead with launching the product in the subsequent sprints, right?
So
In subsequent sprints, in the subsequent sprint, you will have a minimal marketable product, right? And then subsequently, you can have minimal business increments. As you said, your client said that you have to deliver this increment.
So, but when I am releasing this product to market, it is a minimum marketable product, no?
Yes, it will be minimum
This
market.
minimum viable product is internal to our team only. Okay, now we have achieved this sprint, and this sprint was the goal of minimum viable product. Now
No,
anything.
no, listen carefully. See, as a customer, if I start developing a product, right? Right? Suppose I am a customer, right? Think from the customer's perspective. See, tell me, why would I hire a team and why would I build a product if I don't fetch value from it? If I am not if it is not proven that I won't earn money from it, why would I pay you and all that? Why would I take it forward?
Yeah, correct.
So first, should I assess the viability or not?
No, the requirement will come. No, first your requirement, for minimum viable product viability, you will give the requirement, boss. This is my requirement,
Yes.
and then
Customer,
I can develop a product for that viability, right?
yes. Obviously, yes. Obviously, yes. You should know. You see, if it's a customer-supplier relationship, right? Customer should tell supplier what is needed in terms of minimum viable product, right? Yes.
But Pankaj, suppose if we will get that this is the basic requirement for the minimal viable product, so that will only convert into the minimal marketable product.
Why?
Almost that would be almost equal, is it?
No. See, for
So
minimum.
Pankaj, let's take example like I am a product owner and Sujit is a client for me. Okay, so to making a point or finalizing for minimum viable product, obviously I will check with Sujit that these are the things that we can provide you in minimal viable product.
No. Can you
Right?
redefine the roles? You are a product owner, right?
Yeah, I am a product owner.
Right. You're from customer side or you're from delivery team?
I am from delivery side.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and from customer side, I am in touch with the customer and finalizing the things or the items that this we can give you in this, let's say release one, and it will consisting of your, you can say prioritize item because if client is saying that this product is very big but and your timeline is not matching with our uh, request, so divide this into a multiple backlog and give it to me as MVP1, MVP2 and MVP3. But for MVP1 we can go live with the users like this one. Okay, so if I have the
This is
complete list of
Lavi. See, this is what I'm saying. MVPs are not launched to the market.
no
See,
MVP is not
MVP,
okay.
you're talking about MVP or MMP.
So Pankaj, what you are saying is, as per PMI, it should
No, as
not
per
be, but
everyone, as per general
yeah,
concept. See,
okay.
because
But it is being done. It is being done in the market, but it should not be done. I think that's the wrong practice. That's what you are saying, right?
Yeah.
The
See,
right practice is
if
that minimum viable product cannot be released or marketable. It
minimum
is only
viable
for the
product is
viability.
something that may not be fully functional even.
Okay, yeah.
See, minimum viable product is just to check before you launch to the market that your idea would work or not, right? Now, see, Lavi, based on whatever you are saying and Sujit are saying, I can understand the environment. See, in your case, what is happening is, customer has already done MVP assessment at their end and they are going ahead with the product, right? Now, what they are doing is Now they are launching the product in market in multiple releases or multiple increments, right? So this is not minimum viable product. This is minimal business increment. In every release, they have minimum additional requirements which are released to the market.
Correct.
Right? So this context is different. See, because when you talk about holistic concept, you have to think from the customer's perspective. Now, what will customer do as a, in terms of product management or project management? They will first check whether, I'm spending so much money, right? Whether this will work or not. So I have to do some viability assessment. That is minimum viable product. And they have
So
done
you
it.
take-
Can MVP and a prototype can be same thing, right?
See, not always. Because prototype can be as small as a paper prototype also.
Oh.
Whereas MVP is something you see, minimum functionality that you have to develop to assess whether project will be a worthwhile investment proposition or not. That is MVP, minimum viable product, guys.
So Pankaj, in other terms, can we say like the product demo with the minimal feature that if the customer will see, okay, this is the minimum features, and you can give us demo how it works, how it looks like. So is it?
No,
I
no,
would say
that,
the
no. That demo can happen in any context, Sushant.
okay.
Right? See, at the end of every sprint, such demo happen.
Okay.
See, minimum viable product is a minimum feature that you have to develop to check the validity of a concept.
And
Right?
that check will be internal within, or we will showcase it to the customer also.
We'll showcase it to, see, don't think about, again, who is spending money on the project or product, customer.
Customer, yeah.
Customer will do it. He will decide whether his internal team will do or external team will.
Okay.
Are you getting the point? See, think from the holistic perspective. It is not you as a supplier who is doing the project or a product. Actually, the bigger picture is there is a customer-supplier relationship. Customer has a bigger role to play because they are spending money.
Okay. So Pankaj, let me tell you, so a lot of questions are coming just because, as you correctly said, that, we are incorrectly using the MVP as a minimal market product. Like
Yeah.
in our daily also like Sujit, Lavi and other members are also, we are discussing because we are using MVP word for the customer delivery point of view rather than using minimal marketable product.
I think yes, right? Now, can we take one example?
Yeah.
Suppose I am the customer, right? Now, I decided to build a travel portal, right? See, I'm a travel company like Cox and King or Thomas Cooks, right? Now, assume that, I'm one of the company ABC INC, just like them, right? And I have a lot of physical outlets to sell the tickets. Now, I want to have an e-commerce site, a travel portal through which I can sell the ticket, right? Now, tell me, thinking about travel portal, online selling looks very good, right? And, initially, after you talk to people, after you do some analysis on papers, right? It will, you have an assumption that you will make some additional money out of it or a good amount of money out of it. It looks good, right? But tell me, on papers, on analysis, it might look good. But in reality, whatever I am expected out of it may not work. Does it happen or not?
Yeah.
So should I first do some level of minimum viable product to assess whether it will work or not? For example, instead of building the complete e-travel portal, right? I'll simply build a web page that has an information about various flights, right? And on top of that web page, I can give my phone number or, the company's phone number and email, right? And give some Google ads, right? And, people can access that web page, right? Right? And come to me, right? People can access the web page and come and call me through phone or email, right? Now, if I analyze the data of this minimum viable product, right? For example, how many people, how many hits the website have, and how many people actually come to me through website. If I capture this data, right, will it help me to assess the viability of the product or not? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right? Now, suppose significant number of people came to me through the web page that I have created. It is an indication that I can go ahead with the first version of the product, right? Now, the first version of the product that I am going to launch, right? What will be that called as?
Minimum marketable.
Minimum marketable product, right? And moving forward, if I do some increment on top of it, like Uber does it, right? Paytm does it. Those increment will be called as what? Minimum business increment.
Yeah.
Right? So is the difference clear between minimum viable product, minimum marketable product, and minimum business increment?
One question that I have, Pankaj.
Yeah.
So you said that whatever minimum featured website we made, and then we analyzed that data. For
Yeah.
data ke liye, who did we send it to, or where was it tested? Who tested it, or how was that data
So
collected?
now the data has to be validated properly, right? The data has to be validated properly. For example, how many hits the website has, for example,
Before validating, who will give that hits? I have not launched it in the market. Will I be doing it
no.
internally?
So I have done a minimum. See, I'm not earning through it. I'm not selling. I'm not doing anything through it, right? Because see,
So we launched it as a testing version sort of thing,
yeah. So
not
see,
earning anything out of it.
yes. So see again, who validates the minimum viable product? Relevant, right? Relevant stakeholders, right? I use the word relevant stakeholders. Now, in the case of e-commerce portal or travel portal, people who are an online buyer are the relevant stakeholders,
Right.
right? So I have simply launched a page with the information on the flights, right? And I gave some Google ads also, so that people, when I give Google ads, people can access that website. Right? Now, I can capture this data in multiple ways. For example, when people come to me to book a ticket, I can ask them to fill a form, right? And that form will have a field that says that, what is the reference, through what reference you came to us, right? Yes or no? And plus, obviously at any point of time, I can capture the hits on my website also.
Is it okay to say that this would be an investment done by the customer?
No, this is a minimum, and see again, the best thing to say, Vikas, is minimal investment to validate your understanding of the product, to minimum investment to check or assess whether your idea will be successful or not.
Right. So until I do this testing and a minimum marketable product is launched, it would be an investment on my part as
Yes.
a customer.
Yeah, because tell me, what if, let's say, the outcome was very poor, right? For example, I have launched a web page. I have done a Google ad also. I didn't see much references from the web page.
Right.
Will I go ahead with the first release?
No.
But what is the benefit? It
I at least got an
prevented,
understanding, and I can then improve my product and retry.
or I see it prevented me from going ahead with the
Investing heavily and getting a loss.
Yeah. By minimum investment, I came to know whether this idea will be successful or not. That is the benefit, right?
I think the same. Sorry, I think
Yeah.
the one example is could be of Flipkart, because when they launched, they were only on using web portals, and then later on they said we are shifting to the app only. So maybe it's because of uh, the high volume they were receiving through the portal, and then they decided to move to the app.
This is the example, Mohit, of minimal marketable product and the business
Yeah.
increments.
Yes.
Viable product. Yeah.
Pankaj, but in that case, if I would say, suppose a company is going into a kind of product which is very new to them. So in that case, MVP, minimal, marketable product, these all the, steps is being followed. But suppose if you take another scenario where a company is already, I'm taking any of the name, like example Vodafone, they have a wallet. Okay, now they want, and that wallet is on, managed by some another X company. Now they want to replace that particular vendor, and they want to, after 3 years or 5 years of a contract, they want to replace them, and they want another vendor to carry on that particular product. So
That's a
in
different
that
thing.
case,
No,
because
that's
Vodafone is already know that this product is running for them.
no, that is a
So
very that is a simple context in the whole
yeah,
bigger picture, right? That is not a
yeah,
new product. That is a
yeah,
project
yeah.
which is already running. They're shifting the vendors. That's it.
Okay,
It's a very small context.
yeah,
That's a very small context. So we should not be talking about minimum viable product there, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right. They might be doing assessment of the vendors, which is different thing. But minimum viable product is when you are starting
yeah, yeah.
something new, a new project or a product, right?
Yes.
Right.
Now that's clear. That's clear,
Right.
because normally we gone through the projects where I would say maximum where the customer having already running through that, they want to shift your
Yeah.
situation to the to X company. So in that
Yeah.
case, MVP is something that is already they are running. They are aware about that product, their product. So they are going, okay, we want this feature. Okay, let's give demo, and they will go with the project.
So in your case, there is a product which is already there in the market, right?
Yeah.
And you build additional features on top of it, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, maybe you are further ahead of minimum marketable product. You have suppose, you are building minimal business increment on top of it, release by release, right?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Right. All these things have already happened, right?
Got it. Got it. So in simple understanding is, I would say that for MVP is mainly where the company is going, a new product, our first time with that product, so they will start with that one.
Right. Obviously, any
Can it
time.
be a beta release as well? Can we say it's a beta release?
See, I will not use the word beta release. I would say it's an assessment of the viability, whether the idea would work or not. Till MVP, I am, if the MVP fails, I'll not even go ahead with any release. Right, Sudhanshu?
Okay.
Is it
And how
like
about A/B testing? Is A/B testing also done on the
Yeah,
MVP or?
A to B, you are saying, A to B.
Yeah.
A to B's testing is, you can relate A to B testing to MVP, but in A to B testing, you do multiple versions of a
Giving
sim.
option of 2-3 version, and like we see
Yeah,
that
that is
this
a
one
MVP.
is most favorable and most
You
liked
go
by
ahead
the
with.
customer.
Yes.
So that can be
Yes.
done on MVP.
Yeah, they can be done.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
Right.
so
In fact,
Pankaj,
MVP.
let's
Yeah.
talk. I'll give you one more example. Complex product development. Tell me, in case of a complex scenario, will you have one MVP or multiple MVPs before you reach at MMP? In some scenarios, this equation can also be like this. Right. I'm just showing you.
Yeah.
In some
Yeah,
scenarios,
multiple MVP could be there, as Lavi mentioned earlier.
in some situations, MVP 1
Yeah.
plus MVP 2 plus MVP 3 is equal to MMP, right? See, you should demonstrate multiple MVPs in increment. You go through first viability assessment, right? Then second, then 3, then you launch MMP. Sometimes there can be multiple MVPs before you launch a minimum marketable product, right?
So can we take this MMP2 as an increment? Pankaj?
No, this is MMP1. This is MMP. Why you are taking? See, again, we are losing the context, guys. In your case, there is no MVP. You are working on minimum business increments. See, tell me, if I am doing a complex product with a huge investment, should I assess the viability once only, or should I
So
assess multiple times?
Pankaj, let me make it simple. I am working in one project, okay, which is big one. So
No,
what
but
client?
but did you invest or your customer invest? Who is the
In
initiator? You or your customer?
customer is the initiator.
How you are built?
So we are building like MVP 1, MVP 2, and MVP 3.
No,
It's a
no.
big
See,
project.
so
Yeah,
you release MVP 1 in the market, then you release MVP 2 in the market, then you are releasing MVP 3 in the market, right?
right.
This
Like
is not
this way.
MVP, boss. This is not MVP. I'm saying it again and again. This is minimal business increment.
Okay, so terminology we are using incorrectly, we can
Yes.
say, right?
Are you doing viability check or you are rolling out small increment in the market?
So my question is, who will check the viability? Is
See,
it me
why
who is
then
develop?
who is paying for the product? You or customer?
Customer is obviously paying for the product,
So
no?
tell me before reaching you to develop the product as a supplier, don't you think customer would have gone through multiple viability assessment?
Exactly. Now, when the customer is assessing this viability product, at that time, product owner is in touch with the customer to check what all features he required in MVP one. Okay. So that was my initial question. If those things already been assessed by the customer and the product owner that this is the minimum requirement, with that I can go live with to the market. So can we say it like that now?
No, see, listen, see,
In that
market,
case, what will happen?
forget about market.
Hmm.
Forget about market. First thing is from the customer's perspective, right? From the customer's perspective, see, why should he pay money for the product? Unless and until he gets some return out of it. Will he be investing in a product without a return? If he's a
No.
serious customer, right? So he will do a minimum viable product to check internally whether if he goes ahead with this idea, will it work in the market or not?
And if he say it will work, then
Now, who will say it will work? Tell me. People who are
customer.
expert. No. Customer will be. How can customer know? Don't you need you? See, listen carefully. If I'm spending, money, right, to validate an idea, right? See, if I'm spending money to build a product, first I'll get the idea validated. Yes or no? Now, can I validate that idea myself, or I need experts to validate those ideas? See,
Expert.
there are subject matter experts. There's a market research being carried out. There are focus groups, right, who specialize in a particular area. When they will review my market minimum viable product, they will tell whether it will work or not. Right?
Right.
Now, sometimes, they will say, okay, so far, if it's a huge, big product, so far it looks promising, but we'll do multiple reviews. Right?
Correct.
So
Multiple reviews.
you build some features, very minimal, right? And then you add the outcome is show us some more, right? Then you build some other features. Right? At any stage, there is a chances of rejecting your product. Right? Now,
Right.
once you see, MVP is more like a test that you need to pass through. Once you have gone through these MVPs, minimum viability product assessment, right? And the stakeholders and the experts and focus groups, they say that, okay, it seems promising, go ahead with the idea. After this, you will launch the first version of the product in the market. Are you getting my point?
So,
Then
Yes.
customer
Pankaj,
will then customer
the
will start thinking about releasing the product in the market, and then he may involve multiple people. What should be my features in the minimum marketable product that I'm going to launch in the market, right?
So, Pankaj, my understanding is at the MVP stage, the product is not actually has built. It is just to get the idea if it will work or not.
It's built, but with minimum features that you can touch and feel.
Okay.
The purpose is not to earn from the product. The purpose is to learn and get the feedback whether it will work or not. Is it clear, Mohit?
Yeah, it is okay.
Lavi, are you getting my point or not? Minimum marketable product and minimal business increment, guys. Is the difference clear between the three terms?
Yeah.
Now,
Correct.
just to validate, right? I am planning to launch a fintech applications, which is similar to Bharat Pay or Paytm, right? Or Google Pay. I am planning to launch it, right? But first, let me assess the viability, right? Because it's a significant investment. If I fail, I'll have huge losses, right? So let me assess the viability first. Now, to assess the viability, what would I perform?
MVP.
MVP. Absolutely, MVP, right? Now, the second thing, right? My MVP is successful, right? I think the idea will work. Everybody has given a good feedback. Now, I need to think about what features should I launch in the market first. What should be my first release look like, right? I have a limited budget for my first release, right? What are the highest priority important features that I should launch in my first release? What is this?
MMP.
MMP.
Minimum marketing product, right? Right. Now, the basic version of my product is running, competing companies like GPay, Bharat Pay, right? And Paytm, they're coming out with some new features. I should also launch this particular feature, right, in the market before these people can launch so that I can, have more number of customers attracted towards me. What is this? Is it minimal business increment?
Business increment.
Right? So then you keep on incrementing, right, your product. So you have seen how Uber has come into. Uber came with a minimum marketable product in the market, right? Now tell me, today the Uber that you see, is it the same Uber that you have seen, that you saw a few years ago?
No.
Uber app is totally different, right? The Paytm that you saw initially in 2013, is it the same Paytm today?
No.
The minimal marketable product, right, was the first version launched in 2013. Then afterwards, they kept on having multiple business increments, right? Now, a lot of things can be done through Paytm, right?
Yeah.
So is the difference clear?
Yeah.
Right? Now,
Yes.
your minimal marketable product might be your first release, right? Right? Now, see, the release has to be successful. Now, when I say release has to be successful, what does it mean, guys? It should be on time. It should be on budget, right? It should be as per the quality specifications, right? And
Yeah.
it should generate the business value,
Yes.
right? Now, how could we ensure that these things happen, right? Now, for this to happen, we follow Scrum Framework, right? What we do is we break these releases into multiple sprints, right? I'll show you how you can break this release, right? I'll show you how release 1 can be broken down, can be decomposed into multiple sprints, right? First, I'll give you the high-level picture and how the sprint structure, right? How the iterations in the sprint help you to deliver a product which is close to the expectations of the customer, right? Or how this sprinting helps you to deliver the condition of satisfaction. Now, can you see this diagram, guys, where release 1 has been broken into 3 sprints, sprint 1, sprint 2, and sprint 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, just for your understanding, I am assuming this sprint is of 4 weeks, not 2 weeks, right? It's a 4-week sprint, right? Sprint 1 is 4 weeks, sprint 2 is 4 weeks, sprint 3 is, right, 4 weeks. So every sprint is time boxed here to 4 weeks, right?
Okay.
Now, first I'll show you a big picture. I'm not going inside the sprint. We'll go inside the sprint, right, as we move forward. Now, first I'm showing you a very, very big picture here, right? Now, see, every sprint will have a sprint goal, right? Every sprint will have a sprint goal, which means a sprint goal should be the minimum working functionality that a sprint can deliver, right? See, every sprint will have a goal to deliver working functionality. However small it is, does not matter. But at the end of every sprint, we need to have a potentially shippable, rather I will use the word potentially consumable product, right? That is a sprint goal. And at the end of every sprint, we are going to validate, right, through a demonstration, right, whether this functionality is working perfectly as per the expectations or not, right? This is sprint review and this is sprint planning. We'll go inside it in more details, right? So, we have 3 sprints. Every sprint has a goal, right? The goal of a sprint is minimum working functionality, right, to be delivered in a sprint, right? And at the end of the sprint, we validate, right? We validate whether the working product or the working functionality we have created is working as per the expectations of the key stakeholders. Now, at the end of the sprint, whatever we create as a working product is demonstrated to all the relevant stakeholders, such as customers, end users, business people, and the Scrum team, right? And the deliverable is accepted, rejected, or given feedback, right, based on that demonstration. Now, I am doing it sprint by sprint. Every sprint, I am creating some functionality. I am doing at the end of the sprint, I am doing review and retrospection. Then, based on the learning, I am moving forward and delivering the subsequent product, right? Now, tell me, if I am delivering my product, right, incrementally like this, right? First of all, every sprint, I am creating some working functionality, right? And I am giving the demonstration of that working functionality to all the relevant stakeholders. So am I, through this frequent reviews that I am doing at the end of every sprint of the working functionality, I am getting frequent feedbacks from the customer and the end users and the business people. Now, if I am getting frequent feedbacks, I can do frequent refinement. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, if based on the frequent reviews and frequent feedbacks, I'm doing frequent adjustments, the probability, the likelihood that I'll deliver the product as per the expectations of the customer, right? Will it increase or
Yes.
not?
Yes.
Right? So this is what we are going to follow within a release. This is a structure that we are going to follow in a release. Now, can we see what happens within a release, within a sprint? See, I just show you a sprint at high level, but what happens inside a sprint? Can we see that? Shown the sprint in details, right? This is sprint 2. Now, in the sprint 2, can you see four events? The sprint planning, the daily stand-up, the sprint review, and retrospective. Can you see these events, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, before we discuss what happens inside these events like sprint planning or daily stand-up or sprint review or retrospective, can we understand the roles, right, who will participate in these events or throughout the sprint? Who are the people, who are the role, who will participate in, and in what context, right? Can we discuss the important roles within the sprint?
Yeah.
Right, guys? So let's first go through the different roles within the Scrum framework, right? Now, guys, Scrum defines these 3 important roles. Can you see these 3 important roles? The product owner, the Scrum master, and the development team, right? Now, I will start with the role of a product owner first, right? Now, what is the role of product owner, guys? This guy owns the product backlog, right? This guy is responsible. The product owner is responsible for prioritizing the product backlog, right? As I told you, the high priority requirement should always be at the top in the product backlog, right? There are various techniques to prioritize the product backlog that we are going to learn in this training, right? We can use paired comparison method. We can use weighted shortage of first. We can use uh, 100-point or $100 method. Now see, but whatever product owner feels is relevant to prioritize, right? He can decide whichever technique is best for a particular product backlog, right? To prioritize it. So product owner owns the product backlog, right? He's accountable for prioritizing the product backlog, right? He ensures, right? At any point of time, the product backlog gives you maximum value for money, right? He optimizes the work of the development team, right? By value, right? Now, this role, product owner's role is inbound as well as outbound. When I say outbound role, the product owner constantly interacts with the market, the business environment, and the external stakeholders to understand what is needed by the market, right? So based on what is needed by the market, the product owner can prioritize the product backlog. Now, this role is inbound also, right? The inbound role is, he constantly collaborates with the development team, right? Or the developers. He clarifies the doubts that the developer have regarding the requirements or the acceptance criteria, right? If any clarity is needed by the development team, the product owner should be always there to help, right? There's a constant collaboration between product owner and the development team. Now, tell me guys, what kind of people fit in the role of product owner?
Business analyst, product manager.
Yes, people who have a background such as business analyst, right? People like product managers, right? They can be suited for the role of a product owner. Plus, people who are subject matter experts, right? Now, if you're doing an ERP implementation project, functional consultant can be suitable for the role of the product owner. Right, guys? Now, tell me if you have any questions, queries regarding the role of the product owner. Any questions, any queries regarding the role of product owner, guys?
So is product owner also responsible for creating those product backlogs?
He owns the product backlog, right? Now, to create product backlog, he might delegate the responsibility, or he might do it himself. It depends. But again, overall accountability of product backlog, right? Like prioritizing the product backlog, right? The overall accountability of the product backlog lies with product owner.
So the Scrum rules are important feature. The Scrum team comprises of less than 10 team members. Is it standard or what?
Development team should be less than 10 as per scrum.org, right? But it should be cross-functional and self-managed, right? But again, less than 10 means, see, again, it is see, if it is less than 10, the teams can be self-managed, right? See, there should be always some tolerance. If from 10 it goes 12 in the real time environment, it won't matter much, right? But 10 is generally a standard given by scrum.org, less than 10.
Okay.
Now, any questions, any queries about the role of product owner?
So Pankaj, so the team less than 10 members, like it will be like product owner, scrum master, as well as the development.
No. Sorry, it's a development team. I'm not including product
Okay,
owner.
only okay.
I'm talking about development team, right? Not product owner and scrum master included. Now, if you're okay with the role of product owner, can we study the role of, can we do more analysis on the role of scrum master and development team, guys?
Yes.
So
Now,
one thing
Yeah,
before one thing before you go. So project owner, so in this Scrum, are we not defining any role for a project manager? So basically product owner will be acting as a project manager also, right?
See, no, when we talk about Scrum, right? I am talking about Scrum right now, right?
Okay.
Now, Scrum is a delivery management framework, not a project management framework, right?
Okay.
Scrum is not a project management framework. It's a delivery management framework, right? So there is no project management role in a Scrum when we talk about Scrum, actually.
Delivery framework, I didn't get that one.
See, Scrum is not a project management framework, right? It's a delivery management framework, right?
How does
So
both?
there is no project manager in Scrum, right? Now, Ritesh, see, often organizations customize Scrum, right? So that's why, first, can we study ideal Scrum?
Okay, that's true.
The Scrum, which is the actual Scrum, then we'll say how we can modify, right? Based on our environment. Can we discuss that first?
Yeah, sure. It's like
Now, so for that, we have to understand the role of Scrum Master and the development team first. We'll study it together. Now, what is the role of a Scrum Master, right? See, Scrum Master is a facilitator, right? Scrum Master is a facilitator, is a servant leader who helps the team, right? And who removes all the blockers or impediments that come on the way of the development team, right? Now, this Scrum Master is a Scrum process expert. He's a coach, facilitator, and Scrum process expert. One of the important roles that the Scrum Master has is to ensure whether Scrum is being followed properly or not, because he's a process expert, right? He ensures that Scrum is followed properly, right? In the development product or project, right? Is that okay? Now, what is the relationship between Scrum Master and the development team, right? I told you that Scrum Master helps the development team in facilitation, right? Scrum Master acts as a servant leader. He removes any kind of blockers or bottleneck that comes on the way of the development team. He helps the development team. He serves the development team, right? Now tell me, does development team report to Scrum Master? This is a question to all of you. Does the development team report to Scrum Master?
No.
No, absolutely no, right? And does Scrum Master assign any work to the development team? That is also no. That is also no. Now, what is this development team? Now, what is this development team? Now, we'll talk about some of the characteristics of the development team. Now, see, when we follow Scrum as is, right, one of the prerequisite of Scrum is self-managed teams, right? One of the important prerequisite of Scrum, guys, is self-managed cross-functional team who can convert raw requirements into functionality on their own without any external help, right? Now, when I say self-managed team, right, what does it mean when you say self-managed teams? How do they work? Who assigns works to the self-managed teams? What are
They assign
self-managed
to
teams, guys?
themselves. They assign to themselves and they estimate on their own.
They assign the work on their own, right? For example, if in a sprint backlog, right? In a sprint backlog, there are 10 tasks to be delivered, right? In the sprint backlog, there are 10 tasks to be delivered. And let's say, we are part of the self-managed team, right? Sushant will say, I'll take the user interface, right? Ritesh will say, I'll do the database integration part. Sujit will say, I'll do validation testing, right? Arush will say, I'll take care of the entire integration testing, right? This is how the work is distributed within the development team. Nobody assigned tasks, right? The team is self-managed. Now tell me, is it so easy? What kind of attributes should the teams have to be self-managed? Guys, can you tell me what kind of attributes should the team have to be self-managed?
No idea.
Should they be highly skilled or not?
Yeah, skilled.
And should they be cross-functional? They should have all the teams together, right? They should have all the skills together so that they can deliver the working functionality. Now,
So
when I
Pankaj, a
say
question here, who select people for to form this team?
now, see who selects the people to form this team, right?
Mhm.
Now,
Right.
see there can be an involvement of the senior management, right?
Mhm.
Now, sometimes teams who have been working on some similar kind of product can be taken directly for a new product, right? But tell me, do these kind of teams exist in abundance?
No, it has to be picked up. Like, what is the requirement and who could best fit for it? Someone needs to pick that.
See, I'll tell you. Ideally, the prerequisite is self-managed team. Now, in the self-managed team, what are the different attributes of the team members with respect to skills, right? Let's talk about that first, right? Now, see, in any environment, right, people can be T-shaped, E-shaped, or see, people can be I-shaped. The skills can be I-shaped, right? T-shaped, right? Or E-shaped. Now, what do you mean by T-shaped, E-shaped, and I-shaped people?
No
Guys,
idea.
right? So let's talk about this first. Now, I-shaped people are those people, right, who are very strong in one area, right? But they are confined to that area only, right? So, this guy, Rahul, is a very good Java architect, right? But he can't do anything apart from this. He's too good in Java, right? This kind of skills are I-shaped people. Now, T-shaped people are like generalizing specialists, right? People who are very strong in one area, but can work in other area, right, in a decently good manner. For example, right, Vivek he can work, he's an excellent uh, Java developer, but if required, he can work as a business analyst also, right? He can work as a tester also, he can work in .NET also. This is a T-shaped, these are T-shaped people, right? Who are like generalizing specialist. Then third category is E-shaped people. People who can work excellent in multiple areas, right? Who can work in, who can work with same proficiency level, excellent proficiency level in multiple areas. For example, right? Rajiv is excellent in Java, .NET, Python, and he's an excellent business analyst and tester also, right? Kings of all and masters of some. This is E-shape. Now, when we talk about cross-functional self-managed team, the preference is for T-shaped and E-shaped people, right? Now, to give you better understanding of right uh, of a self-managed team and its relationship to Scrum Master, right? Now, I also understand the fact that it's not so easy to have self-managed teams, right? But let's try to understand. Let's try to have the relationship based on some basic understanding. Now, if we talk about Indian cricket team, can you call Indian cricket team as a self-managed team?
Yes.
Matured players, right?
Yes.
And to some extent, nowadays, when you take people, you prefer T-shaped and E-shaped, right?
Right.
Right? A spin bowler who can bat also, a wicket keeper who can bat also, right? And field also, right? So, right?
Yes. Yes.
Now, tell me, such self-managed teams, do they require a leader or a facilitator?
A facilitator.
Facilitator.
They require a facilitator, right? So, coach like Rahul Dravid is more like a facilitator to Indian cricket team, right?
Yes.
Now,
Right.
let's change the scenario. School cricket team where kids are still learning. Do they require only facilitator or a team lead plus facilitator?
Team lead plus facilitator.
Both,
Yeah,
right?
both.
Now, this is the biggest flaw that happen in the real-time environment, right? By incorrectly understanding the Scrum. See, our teams are not self-managed, and we expect Scrum Master to be only a facilitator. Now, tell me, if development teams are stumbling and fumbling to learn skills, should this role be a team lead plus facilitator or only a facilitator?
Should be
Both.
both in that case.
Both.
Both, right? Now, if it is both, then should Scrum Master be assigning work to the development team?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? And if you customize the whole framework in that way, it is good, right? Now, is it still agile? Yes, it is still agile, but not Scrum, right? See, many times people, in many places, you might be seeing Scrum Master assigning work to development team, right? You're following the framework as it is, but you have done some modification. Your Scrum Master, your team reports to Scrum Master, and the Scrum Master assigns to the development team, right? Have you seen this context in some places? Have you seen
Yeah,
this?
multiple projects.
Multiple projects, right? And is it okay to have?
Yeah.
Yes, it is okay to have. It is still agile, but not Scrum. See, Scrum has a very important prerequisite, highly skilled, self-managed teams, right? Now, later on, when we'll talk about resource management, we'll learn about team building stages, right? A team builds like this. I'm just giving you a brief, idea about this. Every team goes through these stages, right? Forming, norming, right? And performing. Sorry. And then finally, adjourning, which, okay, you can do. Now, generally teams go through these different stages. For example, initially when the team is formed, right, the idea about the work is less, right? Does it happen or not? And the workload is also very less. So
Yes.
now tell me, when you go to your family, right, or see, generally what happens when the workload is less, you establish a good rapport with other team members. Does it happen or not? You go to cafeteria, you have coffee, right? At this, and generally you show positive side of yourself to each other, right? You go back, Vikas goes back to his home and says his wife or, the family that, okay, I'm so blessed to be part of such a nice team. Everybody is so good. They're willing to go out of the way to help, right? He's so happy. Now, at this point of time, since the team knows very less about the work, right? The primary role of the manager, right? Project manager is to direct, right? The primary role, right? He can direct. Now, what happens slowly, the work starts coming in. When the work starts coming in, what happens, right? Will the finger pointing, blame game happen or not?
Yes.
Right? The same people who are appearing good to you start appearing bad. You go back to your home and say, I don't know. Now, Vikas says, I don't know how people can be that bad. That's selfish, right? Now tell me, in this is a phase, team building phase, where there will be maximum conflicts. There will be maximum conflicts, maximum issues. Now, in this phase, the role of project manager, right, or scrum master or agile coach is very, very important, right? Based on how he mentors the team, how he coaches the team, how he resolves the conflict, the team will either stuck at storming level, right, or move to norming. If the project manager or the delivery manager, right, is good in managing conflict, he's an excellent mentor and a coach, the team will move to norming. Now, norming is the level when team becomes matured, right? They understand that overall project goal is more important than their personal goal, right? Right? They develop a level of understanding. Their skill also goes up, right? The team at norming level, they are called as self-managed teams, right? And from norming, if team keeps on improving, it reaches performing. Now, performing is a stage where you call the team as high performing teams, where the overall performance is more than the sum of individual performance. And teams at performing level are self-directing teams, right? Now, if you see this team building model, right? Team goes through forming, storming, norming, and performing. And the self-managed teams start from norming level. Now tell me, can there be a situation when self-managed the teams can start from norming level? Can there be a situation, right? Now, can you give me an example when the teams can start from norming?
When we pick up people, let's say, who worked in the previous project.
Absolutely. When you simply port a set of people who have been working long in a similar product.
Yeah, same skill.
Same skills, right? Same technology. Then, then teams can be self-managed right from day one. But please remember one thing. If you have to follow Scrum framework, right? Now, I'm not saying Agile, because Agile can be without Scrum also, right? Scrum is Agile, but Agile is much broader term than Scrum, right? So if you have to follow Scrum as is, the way it is written in the standards and books, then the prerequisite is the development team should be self-managed, right? Having said this, I'm not saying that you can't be Agile, but if you don't have self-managed teams, you can still be Agile, but for that, your Agile coach should be both a team lead and a facilitator, right? However, in Scrum framework, when you have self-managed teams, right? In the self-managed teams don't report to Scrum Master. Scrum Master doesn't assign any work to the self-managed teams, right? The role of Scrum Master is to mentor the team, coach the team in the area of Scrum framework, because Scrum Master is a Scrum process expert. He knows nitty-gritties, right, of the Scrum framework, right? His role is to remove any kind of blocker that comes on the way of the development team, right? His role is to facilitate for the development team, right? Is that okay, guys? So
Yes.
any questions about the role of product owner, Scrum Master, and the development team, guys? Or shall we go into Scrum framework now?
Pankaj, can we have a break for 10 minutes, please?
Yeah, so let's have a 10 minutes break. Then we'll start with the Scrum framework, right?
Okay, one thing, like when we say like, product owner will also have those interactions with client and development team, right? And
Both.
even he
Yes.
has, hello?
Yeah. Tell me.
Yeah. So even he helps the product or the developer team to, remove all those roadblockers,
See,
right?
he helps the team with respect to requirements only. But there can be other situations also, Ritesh. For example, a team is needing a tool, right?
Okay.
So why should team do follow-ups for getting the tool, right? Team should focus on their work, right? Team can delegate this, Scrum Master can facilitate this tool for the team,
All right.
right?
In case they need
So
some access to any of the portals or any of the accounts,
yes.
well, that kind of facility,
Scrum Master
Scrum
can.
Master would be providing it.
Yeah, because so that, Ritesh, development team should be focusing, because see, they have a sprint is time boxed, right? Within time box, the development team has to create working functionality. So
Okay.
they should be totally focused towards their work, right?
I got it. Yeah.
And
Got it.
apart from this, if there are any distractions on the way of development team, right, he can take care of those distractions, right? Right? He should ensure the team is not distracted. They should focus on their work so that they convert, so that you have a potentially shippable product at the end of the sprint, right?
So basically, he will be more towards the internal kind of facility, not towards any kind of client downtime or anything. So that will be by the product owner, right?
Product owner is more about requirements,
Okay.
right? He's about facilitation, right?
Let's say, so does Scrum Master also interact with client?
See, in
I
terms
would
of
say,
in terms of facilitation, not in terms of capturing the requirement,
okay.
right? For example, right? Suppose development team is feeling that product owner is not spending time with them, right? He's not collaborating the way he is required to collaborate. So can Scrum Master come into picture here to help?
Yeah, should be.
Scrum Master can talk to product owner that how important it is for a product owner to interact with the development team.
Okay.
Right?
More of a process coach.
More of a process, right?
Okay.
For example, you saw various events. Now we'll see it again, various events within the sprint, like sprint planning, right? Daily stand-ups, sprint review, and retrospective, right? Now, how this event should be properly conducted, right? Scrum Master can coach the team, right? For example, daily stand-up meeting is time boxed to 15 minutes, right? If he sees the development team is spending more than 15 minutes, let's say the 30 minutes in daily stand-ups discussing multiple other things, right? Then he can come into picture. He will coach them that why do we need daily stand-up meetings and why they should be restricted to 15 minutes only. So he's more like a process guy also.
Okay.
Right.
More of process and a governance on the process.
Yes.
Okay.
He's a Scrum process expert as well, right? And an excellent facilitator and a servant leader, right? So guys, are we taking a 10 minutes break before we start with the actual Scrum framework? We'll see what happens inside the sprint, right?
Okay. So we'll start at 11:20.
Yeah, it's 11:10 right now, right? So
Yes.
let's start at 11:20, right? Sharp 11:20, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks. Guys, can we now discuss the various meetings, various events within the sprint? Now, in every sprint, there are 4 events. In every sprint, there are 4 events or 4 ceremonies: sprint planning, daily stand-up meetings, sprint review, and retrospection. Now, let's go through them one by one. Let's start with sprint planning meetings, right? Now, in the sprint planning meeting, we create two important deliverables. One is sprint goal, right? And the another important deliverable is a sprint backlog, right? Which is a plan to deliver the sprint goal. Now, the sprint planning meeting is a time box meeting. The time box is generally 8 hours for a monthly sprint, 4-week sprint. And as the time box of the sprint decreases, we decrease the duration of the sprint planning meeting as well, right? For example, for 2-week sprints, it can be 2 hours, right? Now, what happens in the sprint planning meeting? Initially, the product owner, right, shares the sprint goal with the development team. Now, sprint goal is a working functionality that is to be delivered within a sprint, right? And this goal should be in alignment with the overall product or project goal. Now, after the product owner and the team have agreement about the sprint goal, the product owner leaves. The team, the development team, creates a sprint plan which is required to achieve the sprint goal, right? This plan is called as sprint backlog, right? The sprint backlog is a development team's plan to achieve the sprint goal. Now, once the plan is ready, the team starts executing the plan. They start creating the deliverables corresponding to the plan. Now, the second important meeting that happens every day is daily stand-up meeting. The purpose of this daily stand-up meeting is to assess, right, the progress of the team towards the sprint goal and adapt if required, right? Now, this daily stand-up meeting is time boxed to 15 minutes. It's a 15 minutes meeting, right? Time boxed to 15 minutes in which the team meets at same location at same time to discuss 3 important questions, right? In this 15 minutes meeting, team discuss what did we accomplish yesterday and how did it help us to progress towards the sprint goal. What we are planning to complete today and how it is going to help us to accomplish the sprint goal. And what are my risks, issues, and blockers that will prevent me from achieving the sprint goal, right? So it is 15 minutes meeting, right? This meeting is meant for developers, right? Developers, all the developers must attend this meeting, right? Scrum masters or product owners may participate occasionally if required, right? But it is a mandatory meeting for developers only, right? Now, the third meeting is a sprint review meeting, right? Now, sprint review is a very, very important event, right? Now, in the sprint review, the team gives demonstration of the working functionality that is created, right? To all the stakeholders, such as Scrum team, right? The stakeholders such as business people, sponsors, end users, right? In this meeting, they inspect the outcome of the sprint and provide their feedback, right? The purpose of this demo is to inspect the outcome of the sprint, right? Now, this sprint review meeting is time boxed to 4 hours for a 4-week or monthly sprint, and the size of the meeting, the duration of the meeting is reduced for if the size of the sprint decreases. For example, for a 2-week sprint, the duration of the sprint review meeting can be 2 hours, right? Now, in this meeting, the development team demonstrate the working functionality, which is reviewed by customers, end users, right? And all the relevant people. Now, after the demonstration, the working functionality or the potentially shippable product is accepted or rejected based on the definition of done, right? Now, definition of done is a checklist like this, right? I'll show you a sample checklist that represents definition of done, right? It may be slightly more than the acceptance criteria. Let me show you a sample definition of done, guys. Right? This is a sample definition of done. It's a checklist like this, right? It includes acceptance criteria, right? Right? As an item, but apart from acceptance criteria, it can have other items also, like, whether design document has been completed or not, whether the end user documentation has been updated or not, or all the type of tests have been conducted, like unit testing, integration testing, platform, and so on and so forth, right? Now, the product is accepted by the product owner, right, if it fulfills the definition of done. So all the items, right, of the definition of done must be completed, right, before the deliverable is accepted, right? Now, see, I have shown you a definition of done, which includes all these checklist items. This is not a standard one, right? For example, you can start with a very simple and easy definition of done, right? Now, as you move forward, as team improves, right, in terms of competency, in terms of efficiency and effectiveness, you can improve this definition of done. Right? Now, let's go back to the next event. So this is what we do in sprint review, right? It's a good opportunity for the team to inspect and adapt, right? Now, after sprint review, the fourth event is retrospective. Now, retrospective is a place where you learn, right? For example, in retrospective, you analyze what went well, what went wrong, right? Based on your experience of the sprint, what should you do more? What should you do less? How can you improve, going further? And, do you need to refine your definition of done further, right? So it is a time box meeting, time box to 3 hours, right? For a monthly sprint, right? For example, if the sprint is 2 weeks, it can be time box to accordingly. For example, it can be time box to 90 minutes, right? 1.5 hours for a 2-week sprint. So this is in brief about all the events that takes place within a sprint. If you have any questions, please ask me. Now, if you don't have any doubts, can we practice some questions on Scrum Framework so that we can validate our understanding on Scrum, guys?